What's going on, everybody? All right. In my last video, I kind of broke down the offensive free agents that we could possibly bring in. In this video, let's break down the defense, right? Our defense is going to go in as one of the top defenses for the 2024 season, right? We finished extremely strong last year, finishing in the top 10, and we're going to keep this ball rolling. And I think we made some great pickups, not only in free agency, but in the draft. That's going to help us continue to elevate this defense and really be the staple of this core, of the core of our team, and kind of how we win football games. And so let's kind of dive into what the free agents are, because at this point, the NFL draft is over, but we have a lot of salary cap room, right? Currently, we have around 18 million. Some of it, a small portion will be taken away because of Michael Gallup. But after June 1, we got 24 million that's going to add to that number. And so we're going to have a lot of money to play with. And even though I think we should spend quite a bit of it on the offense to make sure that is right, there are some holes in the defense that we need to address potentially. And there are some free agents out there that we could possibly bring in. And so I kind of want to break this down. So get right in the comment section. Let me know what you think as we go through this. But before we do, if you can, please like this video, subscribe, turn those notifications. My next giveaway is at 3,000 subscribers. Help me get there. If you want to be involved, hit that subscribe button. It's just my way of saying thank you and show my appreciation to all you guys out there. So let's kind of dive into it. First off, let's take a look at the edge rushers. Actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and look at our depth chart. All right. So as it stands right now, let's look at the edge rushers. We obviously have Max Crosby on one side. We have Malcolm Kuntz on the other. Tyree Wilson will probably get a little bit of work there as time goes on, but the two guys that have solidified those positions, Max Crosby, Malcolm Kuntz. Behind that, you got Janarius Robinson, Charles Snowden, Ellerson Smith, Amari Gaynor. The one thing I want to say is I don't know what's going to happen with Janarius and Robinson. I had high hopes from last year when Tyree Wilson really wasn't producing. I thought that he was starting to step up. I thought he was starting to show some promise and some flashes. So there was a chance that he might have been able to take over that edge rushing role. Now, this is before Malcolm Kuntz went off, but I started to see some flashes. But he had that DUI situation in the offseason, so I don't know what's going to happen with him. And so that's kind of how our edge rushers stand. So let's go ahead and take a look at free agency and what's left. Now, look, I don't think we need to necessarily bring anybody else in on the edge. Now, we do have some unrestricted free agents that we just brought in, and there's two of them, and I'm going to break those guys down. I'm going to do additional videos on those guys, and I think that there's a really good chance that they find their way on this 53-man roster, and they have a role where they can actually help and produce this team next season. And so I'm going to break them down. But, taking a look at the edge rushing positions, honestly, guys, in my opinion, I really don't see much. Obviously, you got Yannick Ngakwe that we had in a couple years ago back with Gruden, and Gus Bradley was on our staff, stuff like that. You got him up there. I don't really see anybody on this list that I think I'd want to take an actual stab at when it comes to bringing on to kind of help out this roster. And so, again, I'm going to be kind of stingy when it comes to who we sign on the defensive side, because I think we need to maybe pour a little bit more money into the offensive side to really help that offense, come up to be not, I want to say a powerhouse, but give them the best chance at success. And so I don't really see much on when it comes to the edge rushers. Guys, let me know in the comments down below what you think when it comes to the edge rushing position. Now let's look at our interior D line. We picked up some monster free agents and we re-signed a lot of guys. Christian Wilkins, a massive signing. He's going to anchor the middle of that defense. You got John Jenkins, Byron Young, Adam Butler, Marquand McCall, which is a big boy that's going to be just like a John Jenkins, where he can kind of stuff the middle. Matthew Butler, Nesta J. Silvera, and Tamari Fox. Now, the one guy that we saw last year, Patrick Graham made just a massive move, just one of the smartest moves I saw out of last year out of our coaching staff, was moving Tyree Wilson inside. And if we move Tyree Wilson inside, he is just going to thrive more than he did last year. And I think it's going to be it's going to solidify just how dangerous this defensive line could potentially be, not just on every down, but especially for third down and passing downs. we're going to get after some quarterbacks. And so I don't know how much I want to see us bring in on the defensive line side, because I think John Jacobs, Adam Butler, they are going to do work in the middle alongside Christian Wilkins. And so, but let's just take a look real quick at what the D tackle position looks like and just kind of see what's out there, right? At the top of the list, Emmanuel Agba. I, again, don't think we want to bring him in. Carl Lawson, I really don't see much out of him. This is still showing some of the DNs, but you got kind of the older guys that, again, you never know if an injury is going to happen. And so, do you want to take a shot because we have a lot of salary cap? Do you want to take a shot and possibly bring somebody in? But again, if you bring in a veteran like a Fletcher Cox or even a Calais Campbell, if you bring a guy like that in, you're not allowing younger guys on this roster to develop. And that's the thing you want to do, is you want to find some of these younger guys, maybe, looking back at the roster, making sure that Matthew Butler gets some reps. Nesta Jade Silvera, make sure he gets some reps. Those are rookies that we just picked up, last year. We want to make sure that a couple years ago, do we give them the best chance to see what they have, to see, do we let them go? And so that's why I honestly, I don't think I want to see us bring in any more D tackles. I think we are solid on the inside, especially with Tyree Wilson, making the move inside and getting some reps there. And so let's go ahead and let me go back. Let's take a look at the linebacker situation. Okay. So we have our linebackers that sits right now. We got Divine Diablo playing on the weak side with Amari Burney sitting behind him, Robert Spillane, absolute stud. And then our rookie, Tommy Eichenberg. And I think he is just going to be just maybe the predecessor when Robert Spillane is no longer on the field, or it's kind of a wake up call to Divine Diablo. Because typically we are one of the defenses that run the highest percentage of snaps playing a nickelback, and so we usually only have two true linebackers sitting on the field, and typically those linebackers were Robert Spillane and Divine Diablo, and so. Luke Masterson, he got involved as well. But the thing is that Divine Diablo, if you don't step up, you got Tommy Eichenberg that can come in and step in and play. And so I think it's going to light a fire under Divine Diablo. I think our linebacker core is, again, it's pretty solid. We got a couple young guys like Amari Burney that we might want to still get some reps and really see what we have with him. The one guy that I have a big question mark is that Darian Butler. Darian Butler sitting behind Luke Masterson. He's a guy that I could see letting him go and bringing in another body, maybe through free agency, that we want to try and test out. And so let's go ahead and let's filter this through the linebackers and just kind of see what's out there. Again, I don't want to bring in some high paid or high price tag defensive players, because I think our defense is pretty solid as it stands right now. The only guy that really stuck out to me, you got Quan Alexander that played for Pittsburgh last year. He's an inside linebacker that we could possibly, again, take a look at. But the one guy that, if we were to get rid of Darian Butler, there's one linebacker that was just he wasn't a stud, but I think he's more of a great locker room guy and a great special teams guy. And as we get down to our 53-man, Curtis Bolton, I would not be opposed to possibly bringing him back in because of what he brought to this roster, this locker room, the previous years. A great special teams guy. If we needed another linebacker, again, he didn't play much linebacker for us. I don't think he's a great linebacker, but again, if he's just sitting behind somebody, maybe we take a chance on him again and bring him back. But again, I don't see much when it comes to linebacker side. So guys, let me know in the comments down below what you think when it comes to linebackers. If I'm missing somebody or somebody you would want to see us bring in. Now let's look at the corner position. I'm going to kind of lump the nickel guys in there as well, Nate Hobbs, but you got Jack Jones on one side. As it stands right now, Jacorian Bennett. We have Nate Hobbs that will sit in the slot. Most likely Brandon Faison, which could be a guy that we let go. You want to see some of these younger guys come up and develop. And then we got DC, DeCamerion Richardson. I'm going to call him DC Richardson. So he was our fourth round rookie that we picked up. And so that's kind of what our cornerback room looks like. Now, could we bring in a veteran presence? And I think this is where, if we're going to spend money somewhere, we got to spend money at the cornerback position. So let's take a look at what the cornerback situation looks like. I know it's been talked about a lot, so we all kind of we all already have a good idea as to what the cornerback free agency class looks like. But here's my thing, right? You got Xavier Howard that's still sitting out there, and he's gonna be a big price tag. If we bring in one free agent on the defensive side that's going to be a lot of money, I want to put it into a corner. And so Xavier Howard, I wouldn't be mad if we brought him in. He obviously has his injury history, but could he still play at a high level? Possibly. And could he come in and help these rookies? Possibly. You got JC Jackson. Don't want to bring him in. Adoree Jackson could be, again, a name to watch out for because of his ties with Patrick Graham. One of his best years was when he played with Patrick Graham. Cameron Sutton, I don't want to bring him in. Stephon Gilmore. Stephon Gilmore is a tricky one because he's obviously getting up there in age. But the thing is, wherever this guy goes, he produces. You know, when I'm blanking on his name, Trayvon Diggs, the corner for the Cowboys, their number one corner, lockdown corner. When he went down last year, Stephon Gilmore stepped in and really solidified that number one corner spot. Now the thing is, I know he had a pretty tough game, that first game, that playoff game that they had last year. I think he got beat a couple times, but at the end of the day, it's a veteran presence that can help this cornerback room really learn the position. We got a couple young guys in there, Jacorian Bennett. You know, the verdict is still out on him whether or not he's going to be able to produce and become that, opposite corner of Jack Jones. And so that's a guy that I would not mind bringing in. You got Patrick Peterson sitting there. Could you bring him in as a last resort veteran presence? You could. He's more of that. I think he transferred a little bit over to safety with Pittsburgh, and so I don't know if I'd want to bring him in, but as a last resort veteran presence, possibly. But then once you kind of go down the line, I really don't see anybody else I'd like to see us bring in. And so, again, Xavier Howard, wouldn't mind it, or Adoree Jackson, not a big fan of it, but he does have the ties to Patrick Graham, so Patrick Graham could possibly bring something out of him. But I would not mind Stephon Gilmore, again, just because of what he brings to the table wherever he goes. So, guys, let me know in the comments down below how you feel, or if there's another corner that you guys might want to see us bring in. And then, look, you got the safety position. I think our safety position, whether it be the free safety, the strong safety with Marcus Epps, Trayvon Merrick, Chris Smith, you brought in Trey Taylor, which I think was a great pickup in the draft. Isaiah Polamau, we re-signed him, which is awesome. I love bringing him back. Tall, lengthy safety that can go sideline to sideline. So I think we're pretty solid, but there's only one safety really that a lot of people are talking about that's still available out there. And that's Justin Simmons, played for Denver last year. Could we bring him on? And again, it's one of those where someone gets injured and you automatically have a stud to bring in. You could, but it's not an absolute need. And if we're going to pay someone a high dollar amount, which he's going to want, I don't know if safety is where I want to spend it. So I don't like bringing in a safety at this stage. But let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. And so that kind of breaks it down, guys. That breaks down the defensive side of the ball. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if there's a guy I missed. Let me know if you're high on anybody that we brought in when it comes to undrafted free agents or the guys that we drafted, because I do think that there's some undrafted free agents that we brought in that could help on the defensive side of the ball. I think there's a chance they're going to make this 53-man roster, and I think there's a chance that they could play a role on this defense in the 2024 season. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me. Again, like this video, subscribe, turn those notifications. My next giveaway is at 3,000 subscribers. So hit that subscribe button if you want to be involved. Appreciate you guys checking in. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm out.